Coming up on this week's episode of Flash Talk, Kent State men's basketball coach Rob Senderoff sits down with me to talk about the Flash's trip to Canada. Plus, we meet with Kent State women's basketball head coach Todd Starkey to talk about their tropical trip to Puerto Rico. Kent State men's golf freshman sensation Isaiah Ibit joins the show to talk about his success in the fall. And finally, Kent State wrestling head coach Jim Andrassy joins us to talk about the Kent State Open next week. All that and more coming up in a flash. Welcome into our Flash Talk studios. Dane Richardson, joined once again by Kent State men's basketball head coach Rob Senderoff. Coach Sendy, we always appreciate the time. And coming back from Lethbridge, Alberta, Canada, 3 games in 3 days. Take us through that win over Towson first.
Yeah, well, a lot of respect for their program, and didn't realize after we played that one that all 3 games were going to be very similar in terms of the fashion in which they were played. But certainly that game was a hard-fought, possession-by-possession battle. Reminded me a lot of what a MAC game is like in terms of every rebound was scrapped for, every basket was hard-fought, and we came up with enough plays in that game, made a number of huge baskets offensively. Vaughn, in particular, made a couple big baskets down the stretch, and we had some big defensive possessions to win the game. Really proud of the effort in that one and the whole weekend. I thought, we didn't win all 3 games. We went 2-1, but it was a really, really good weekend for us as a group.
And what do you think you learned through those 3 games in 3 days? A little bit more about the identity of this year's roster, Coach?
We're playing a lot of guys, different combinations finished each game, each night, and you saw that throughout the weekend. A lot of different guys contributed in big ways to our success. And different guys stepped up to help us, especially on the defensive end. We rebounded the fact that we won the 3rd game, Kennesaw State. We shot 28% from the field, which is almost unheard of, but we found a way to win that game. I think speaks volumes to the character and toughness of the basketball team. We took care of the basketball all 3 games against 3 really quality opponents from good leagues. All 3 leagues, as conferences, are rated ahead of the MAC. Not saying they're better leagues, because I feel really strongly about our conference, but they're rated really highly. All 3 teams are picked, at or near the top of their league. So this was a really challenging tournament for us to go 2-1. I think says a lot about, where we are right now, and we still have a ways to go, but if we can defend consistently, not care about who's scoring, get contributions from everybody who enters the game, we have a chance to have a good team.
At this point in the season, are you happy with that type of defensive performance, 3 games in 3 days? Is that side of the ball where you think it needs to be right now?
Yeah, for sure. And I think it stems back from, we played Niagara a couple weeks ago at home, and I thought we were really poor on that side of the ball. And we had 1 day to prepare between that game and our Cleveland State game. Watched film. We really didn't get to do much on the court, but watched film and did a little bit of like dummy defensive drills. And the maturity of the guys on the roster the next evening against Cleveland State, we were fantastic that night defensively. Okay. That then translated to, okay, we're going into this game against Towson. We've played them before twice. We had a home and home with them a few years back. We knew what their program stood for. What their program's about, where they stand in their league, where they're picked, what their style of play is like, how they rebound the ball, how competitive they are. And I just think it's carried over. We then played UC Irvine, who's one of the, right now this year, one of the best teams in the country. Give them credit. They made some plays. They got to the free throw line more than we did. And I think they were a little more consistent than we were in that area. But the next night against Kennesaw State, we came back and we offensive rebounded the ball. We were really physical, and we got to the free throw line. So real good growing experience for our team, and now we have to move forward and continue to build as the season moves along.
Last question, Coach. You're back at home in the MAC Center this Friday. What can we expect from a Portland Pilots team that you're going to face heading up this weekend.
Another good mid-major program in a really good league, the West Coast Conference, Gonzaga, St. Mary's, Santa Clara, Portland, a lot of good teams in that league, and San Francisco, one of the best mid-major leagues in the country. And it's our last game with our students here, first home game in a while, and hopefully we'll have a great crowd. It'll be great to be back in the MAC Center for our players, and excited to see what we can do and if we can continue to build and grow as a team this year, Friday night.
That's Kent State men's basketball head coach Rob Senderoff. Coach, we appreciate the time.
Yep, thanks.
Welcome back into Flash Talk. Dane Richardson joined once again by Golden Flash's women's basketball head coach Todd Starkey. Coach, coming back from San Juan, Puerto Rico, an enjoyable trip, beautiful weather. You go 1-1 in that trip. First, we'll go through that game against Brown. Your team shot over 40% from three in the third consecutive game. What did you like about your offense in that one?
The fact that we shot over 40% from three in the third consecutive game. Yeah, no, that's that covers up a lot of ills. I was really pleased to see the type of flow we had in that game. A good team, good Brown team, and proved to be that case. In the days to come after that. So we were excited about getting that win. I think offensive efficiency wise and the way we shot the basketball, if we can do that on a regular basis, we're going to win a lot of games. And was pleased to see some players really step up defensively, and overall I thought that was a great game. Our third straight 20-point win over a non-conference D1 opponent, the first time since 81, 82, I believe. Yeah. I'm not sure you were around to see that happen.
I was not.
Yeah. So, but excited about the way we started down there, and obviously in a beautiful location.
Forward to the Colorado State game. That was a game you guys were up by double digits in that one. And just take me through, obviously, Colorado State went on a little bit of a run there in the third into the fourth quarter. Kind of what happened with that downfall, and where do you think your team could have improved in that area?
Yeah, we stopped scoring. It was like a lid on the rim, and I think it's a real thing. We played the day before. Colorado State had not played, and I think that really showed in our legs and our shots, third and fourth quarter for sure. We got some really good looks and weren't able to finish at the basket. We got some wide open looks from really good three-point shooters. Day before those shots were going down. And against Colorado State, they weren't. And against a future Power 5 opponent, you can't miss those shots. They're very talented and was a really good team. And let that one slip away, but was pleased with our effort overall during the whole trip.
And overall, these type of trips, of course, your team is together for a holiday like Thanksgiving. How do these type of basketball games, trips, vacations, whatever you want to call them, bring the team closer together?
Anytime you travel as a family, travel as a team, all that type of thing, the goal is to have a shared experience and bring you together, grow deeper relationships with each other, and experience a different culture, which was great for our program. It also helps prepare us for MAC play in playing back-to-back days. I mean, when we get into a MAC tournament, and hopefully we can continue to advance like we did last year, we have something to point to from earlier in the year. Hey, you guys did the back-to-back thing. You understand what that turnaround looks like, the preparation you have to do, and so it's nice to be able to draw on that when you're playing later in the year.
You still have another game this week at Niagara. They're a team that likes to press. Press is something that you have seen plenty of times this year. So preview that matchup a little bit. Niagara's a team that struggled mightily this year.
Well, I mean, I don't expect them to struggle against us. I think that's how you have to keep your team on edge. I mean, certainly we're used to a press by now. Like you said, it seems like almost every team we've played this year has pressed in one form or another. Our team has been tested in that way. And I think we've played really the toughest part of our non-conference schedule in November, and now we can focus kind of on singular games as we're going through December. We're really working on improving, more time for practice. Obviously, we're preparing for the Niagara game. If we can get up there through all the snow drifts on I-90 on the way up there, we'll see. But we're excited for another opportunity to play and get things going, hopefully get another win before finals week.
Gotta love driving up that thruway to Western New York. Well, the Flashes will do that one more time when, of course, they play Buffalo in conference play. But thinking about the month of December, you guys have more practice time this month than any other month you have during the season. What are the things you're looking to improve on most before you hit January 1 and you have that home conference opener against Bowling Green?
We've hit on all the injuries that we've had and had 2 more in Puerto Rico, and we're playing with a short bench. But I think it'll be nice to be able to – and it was kind of like, you just thrown into it and had to play some unexpected lineups, and players were playing out of position and that type of thing. We were just kind of, felt like we were in the spin cycle there a little bit, and now you get a little bit of time to maybe get some players back healthy. The players that are playing get a little bit better of a rhythm playing together. The rotations are a little bit more set, and you can work on some things finally. Now we have a little bit of room to breathe. So that's what we're excited about in December, is really focusing on us and then a specific individual opponent, and then finals week, and then we come out of that and play a couple more before Christmas break. So we're excited about continuing to improve. I really love coaching this bunch, and we're excited to see where this team can go.
You've told me what your favorite Christmas movie is. Tell everyone what your favorite Christmas movie is.
Yeah, I'm a bit of an old school sentimental guy, and Irving Berlin's White Christmas. It's an old school movie, but it for some reason, it continues to be my favorite.
Todd, Starkey, Coach, good luck against Niagara. Thanks for the time.
Sounds good. Go Flashes.
Looking for a home loan? Come to where the grass is greener. Green Lending. We're a lending team here for you, locally based in Independence, Ohio, and owned by local college athlete graduates. We make the loan process easy and stress-free, so you can focus on finding your dream home. Whether you're the first-time buyer or refinancing, we've got your back. Call us today at 216-999-5343 or visit us at greenlending.com. And don't forget to provide the promo code Kent State to have an appraisal fee waived. Green Lending, exclusive mortgage lender of Kent State Athletics.
Today, the world could use a little more understanding. Understanding nurtured by shared values. We come together at Kent State. Different dreams, different viewpoints, united by purpose. Preparing to make a difference in our divided world. Wherever you are in your life's journey, come learn with us. Begin at Kent State.
Welcome back to our Flash Talk studios. Dane Richardson joined alongside freshman on the Kent State men's golf team, Isaiah Ibit. Isaiah, we appreciate you joining us here on Flash Talk, and you've had quite the start to your freshman season so far. Take me through what's led to a lot of those successes.
Coming into this season, I didn't really have a lot of expectations. I just really wanted to play as much as I could. Lucky enough to play all 5. Most of it's just kind of just believing in myself and believing in the team we got. We got a good group of guys, so it's nice to feed off of each other, and just be competitive and push each other to be the best that we can be.
And I know Kent State men's golf obviously has that Canadian connection, of course.
Yeah.
Corey Connors and just to name a few. You performed really well in that Canadian Collegiate. Top 5 finish, a couple top 5 finishes for you, 3 top 20 finishes. How was it for you to be able to go back to your home country and perform that well?
It was definitely nice to go back home. Seeing that it was happening at the same time as like a junior camp for Team Canada, it was nice to kind of just see the same guys, some of my buddies that have been back home. It's nice to see them for what I haven't seen them since, but it's just comfortable being back home and just really happy to have performed the way that I did.
And did you have some extra motivation going into that tournament, and have you played at that course before where there was some comfort there? Or?
Yeah, no, I hadn't played that course previously. I had heard good things, mostly about how fast the carts were, so that was kind of nice to have during the tournament.
Yeah.
But no, I was mostly I was just looking forward to playing a good golf course and just seeing some good old friends and some good coaches.
Isaiah, you got the chance over Thanksgiving break to go down to Phoenix and help Team Canada perform at a nice training camp there. So tell me about that experience and what you're looking forward to potentially competing for Team Canada in the future.
Yeah, so this is my second year on Team Canada. Moved up, joined the college guys this year. It's been nice. You know, we got a small team, 5 guys, but, you know, it's just nice to kind of get someplace warm during the winter and have some chances to work with some great coaches. You know, it's a great opportunity. You know, after New Year's, going back down there again, and then headed to Chile for the South American Amateur. So, yeah, it's kind of nice. Helps to, you know, just have that extra point of support.
And how excited are you to go to Chile for that amateur championship? I assume that's got to be quite the experience coming up.
Yeah, you know, I've never really been to a place like Chile before, so it's definitely going to be a new experience. But, yeah, just looking forward to compete down there and just represent Canada.
Take me back through your recruiting process. You're just a freshman, so it's your first year here. Why was it Kent State, and what did Coach Mills say to you that brought you here to Kent, Ohio?
You know, even before, I'd obviously known Kent State as a school, you know, with the Canadian talent that has come through here, and obviously the success they've had in the past. But it was mostly just, you know, when coming here on my visit, it just felt really nice to be here. I felt very welcomed. Meeting the team was also really nice, but kind of helped also that there was some guys on the team, and Ben McLean and James Newton. Obviously, I mentioned previously Gabo. Nice to have some Canadians on the team, and then just kind of know that you know, Mills is obviously a great coach, and just kind of the culture around this team just drew me in here, and just, you know, it's been really nice since.
Moving forward in your spring season, Isaiah, what are you looking forward to improving on your individual game the most as you head into the spring?
Obviously, just looking to be more consistent. You know, the fall I had some good tournaments, and then there was a couple where, you know, we played some really, really tough courses and some really good tournaments, and I didn't play that well. But just looking to be more consistent, hopefully just play well throughout the spring, and then hopefully we have a chance to win the MAC later in Columbus this spring.
And last question I have for you, tell me a little bit more about your approach and how you like to go about things from tournament to tournament. Is it dependent on course, or do you try and stay consistent time in and time out?
Yeah, so, you know, I try to stay consistent time in and time out. Usually a week before the tournament, I'll try to, you know, maybe work on some things where shots that I might not hit at some other courses, but if we have a tournament coming up where I know I need a certain part of my game to be sharp, you know, that's where I'll tend to focus on.
We look forward to seeing more of your successes in the spring. That's Kent State freshman on the men's golf team, Isaiah Ibit. Isaiah, thanks so much for the time.
Thank you for having me.
Coming up this week in Kent State Athletics, brought to you by KSU Ticks, women's basketball hits the road to Western New York as they take on the Niagara Purple Eagles for a 3 p.m. tip. That night at 7 p.m., Kent State Wrestling takes on Lake Erie inside the Mac Center. On Friday, Kent State men's basketball returns to the Mac Center as they take on the Portland Pilots from out west at 7 p.m. On Saturday, Kent State Wrestling returns to action at the Cleveland State University Open. And on Sunday, Kent State Gymnastics has their blue and gold intra-squad match at 1 p.m. inside the Mac Center. As always, you can buy your tickets at ksutix.com. If you want more information on your favorite Flashes teams, visit kentstatesports.com or visit the Go Flashes app. We'll be back with more right after this.
As you know, Kent State Athletics, our basketball team has historically been a huge part of our athletic department. We have a winning tradition. We always bring a great game. But in today's day and age, the basketball game itself isn't going to entice the average fan. We really need to come over the top. We need to do these exciting things like they do in professional sports. And without sponsors or partners like Ken Ganley, we wouldn't be able to afford to do like tonight, the esports night with the Ken Ganley game room. Also being able to do the $10,000 putt at halftime that they're supporting. So those types of things help us advertise and get out into the community and maybe reach people who are not just the average basketball fan. They also help us out off the court. So many of our faculty, our staff, and our coaching know that they can go to Ken Ganley Chevrolet, get themselves a vehicle in a short amount of time without having to shop everywhere. They're so important to us on so many levels that we're just so grateful that they're a part of our family, and I don't know how we would live without them.
Welcome back into our Flash Talk studios. Dane Richardson alongside Kent State Wrestling Coach Jim Andrassy. Coach, appreciate you joining us again. And you're starting to get toward the middle of that season. What have you thought so far in the last couple of opens and dual meets? I know you had a nice win against Gannon, coming off a loss against Bellarmine. So just give me your perspective on how you thought the beginning of the season has gone so far.
I'm still waiting for that date we can have all our guys wrestling in an event, all our starters. We still haven't, it seems like every event we've had guys out, multiple guys out, which makes it challenging to win at this level. Wrestled Bellarmine, we had 3 starters out. Wrestled at Navy, we had 3 starters out at the tournament. I think at the beginning of the year, we didn't wrestle with Jordan Decatur, probably maybe our best wrestler on our team. So we're still just waiting for that one competition where everyone will be in the starting lineup. It's not going to be against Lake Erie just because we're not going that route with it. We're trying to get some guys healthy. We're also wrestling some guys at the Cleveland State 2 days later this week. And then I think our goal is to have our starting lineup in for the following week, and we have our first MAC duel against Buffalo, and then also we're wrestling Rutgers that day, and also Gardner-Webb. So if we can have all our starters available for that, I'll be pretty happy.
Billy Meisner's off to a great start so far. He's won an individual tournament. So what have you thought of his performance, and what has led to his success?
Things are starting to come together, and what I mean by that is we got a pretty young team for the last few years, and I actually saw some pretty good improvement at that event. There were 3 Big Ten teams there, so it wasn't like it was an easy event. I don't know if it was as tough as Michigan State, but on the back end of it, you only could wrestle 10 starters. So you go to Michigan State, and we had a lot of Big Ten teams there. They were at 3-4 guys at each weight class, so it's just a little different type of tournament. This one was a tournament for starters, so pretty much you could tell who the starters was, and we competed pretty well against them. And I was pretty, it's been a long time since I got on a bus ride and was pretty happy with the way we competed as a whole. It's been a long time since I felt that way. I think Navy, I felt that way. Even though we had 3 starters out, we still had some guys that just wrestled really well, did the things that we're teaching, did the things that we're coaching, which is, you always want to see improvement. It's one thing to go out and win, but if you aren't seeing improvement, it's like, man, we're winning, but we're not really improving. I saw a lot of guys improve, and one of those kind of led us was Billy. Billy's done a really good job of just the little things that we talk about in practice, and his biggest thing was just staying off his back. He's one of those guys that was so aggressive that he went to his back a lot. And last year it cost him a lot of matches. Beginning of the year it cost him 2 matches that we can think of. Against Navy, he did everything the right way. He stayed focused. Like I said, he put together, I think, 4 matches to win the tournament. So he wrestled pretty well. And he was the MAC, we're in the West, MAC West Wrestler of the Week. Yep, so we were excited about that.
And another positive, Brenton Zimmerman at 285. He's been fantastic this year. He's had a lot of tough matches that he's been able to pull out down the stretch.
Well, he's an athletic 285-pounder. He's young. He's only a freshman. I think he's just aggressive. And, when you're aggressive as a heavyweight and it's a controlled aggressiveness, you can be pretty successful, and he's trying to put things together. He didn't wrestle at Navy because he tweaked his knee a little bit, and he just felt it wasn't good for him to go. And when I think if it was anything else, he probably would have. But I think when you're young and you see a tournament where there's 4 or 5 matches in a day, you kind of get nervous. Can I do that? So that's something. Hopefully, as he matures and gets older, he'll learn how to wrestle through the injury that he has. But we're expecting him to wrestle this week, and expecting him to get some matches this weekend in the tournament when he goes to Cleveland State. He's a pretty athletic kid. He wrestled 215 in high school, and he's starting to fill out the weight class. So he weighs about 240, 245 on a heavy day. And he's just finally starting to he's one of those guys I feel really positive about moving forward. He wrestled a guy here when we wrestled Gannon. So there was a Gannon wrestler that wrestled for Bucknell, was in the round of 12 last year. Yep. I went back to that match, and I don't know how he didn't get the call at the very end to get the takedown, the challenge.
Coach, yeah.
I went back and watched it numerous, sent it to our person in charge. He thought it should have been a takedown for whatever reason, but it just shows that he can compete with guys at the top level in Division I. I think that's given him a lot of confidence as well.
How do you make sure your guys are ramped up, healthy, ready to go, while also staying composed and find a way to win those matches?
I think that at this point in the year, you're probably never going to feel 100% going into matches. So just making sure they feel confident in what they, with what they're going to do and how they're going to win matches. I think that as a coaching staff, we've gotten better as trying to remove guys from, if you're a 174-pounder and you're sitting around cheering for every single guy and getting all, excited and your levels are going up and down, it's going to be pretty hard to compete for 7 minutes when you've just gone through that. So kind of remove yourself from the situation, understand that you need to take care of your business, and if everyone takes care of their business, it'll work out great. That's something we're getting better at. And when you have a young team, you have to kind of control where they're at and what they're watching. And
you can see the Flash's wrestling team on Thursday against Lake Erie at home. That's Kent State Wrestling head coach Jim Andrassy. Coach, thanks for the time.
Thank you.
That'll do it for this week's episode of Flash Talk. Tune in next week as we inch closer to the holiday and have our season finale. For our entire GFTV studios, for Ethan Lachinsky, Justin Spots, I'm Dane Richardson saying good night and go Flashes.
For every just one more mile to your next ace on the court, when you have a sports-related injury, Cleveland Clinic is here. For our Cavaliers, our Guardians, and athletes at all levels, our sports medicine team helps keep you in the game. With expert diagnosis, personalized sports therapies, and game-changing surgeries. For every injury, for every athlete, for every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic.
I think you can do so much from traveling the world. So many people just stay in the box that we live in.
The study abroad program at Kent State made it clear what path I should be taking.
Experiencing the different classes to experiencing the art and the buildings and the culture. I'm just hoping to take back everything I've learned and be able to apply it into whatever I do in the future.
Kent State has basically helped to set up the vision for the career that I want to be able to go through.